A little bit of a tough transition today, but we're going to attempt to do that and bring in my man Antonio Hall. Coach Antonio Hall, as we're going to talk a little ball here on 1310 WDPN, the Sam Bourquin Show, and a little high school football here on this Wednesday afternoon. Coach Antonio, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Sam, how about you?
I'm good. Appreciate you coming on today. Man, we're 4 weeks in already.
Can you believe it?
Somebody please stop the clock.
Can you believe it? I was thinking that today, like, man, next week we're going to be at the halfway point of the season. Like, it just goes by so fast, man.
I just can't. It's like the older I get, the faster it goes. And there was a point, Antonio, I thought in my 30s and 40s that it would start to go slower because, you've been around for a long time. We watched a lot of games, called a lot of games, been a part of a lot of the traditions. And here we sit. I'm like, nope, it just goes even faster. I can't put my finger on it. Coach.
I know, man. I know. Wish we could just hit the brakes a little bit, right? Because you want to enjoy so much. I mean, so many teams are doing well. So many teams have, been through coaching changes or transformations. And it's just, there's just a lot to process here in Stark County.
It is. And on we go. And we'll be having this discussion next week. In my first sentence, I guarantee you, Antonio, can you believe it? It's the 5th week. I can already see it. I mean, I know. I'm Nostradamus. What can I say? All right. So let's take a quick peek back at the first 4 weeks, Coach Antonio. And who's hot and who's not in your eyes here in Stark County? I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on a couple of our teams, and we'll chop it up here a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. You got to start with some unbeatens. Obviously, I got to see Perry the past couple weeks in a row, and just wow. I mean, they have a two-headed monster in the backfield with Shepard and Lemon. They have a pair of pistols on the edge, both at wide receiver and defensive back, and Foster and Wilson. That offensive line looks really good. That defense is playing lights out. Hoover, they're 3-0. Their defense only given up 17 points in the first 3 weeks. Offense scored 136. So Hoover is rolling. That they've had the injury bug the past few seasons. Hopefully, they can keep it rolling, be healthy, moving through the middle part and later parts of the season. Lake 3-0. Last year, really, really young team, a lot of injuries. This year, a year of development. All the guys are back pretty much. And how about Louisville? 3-0. Huge program win last week in Northwest. Coach Kappas is really putting his thumbprint on that program. So those teams right now really thriving. East Canton, the Fighting Spider Millers, 3-0, averaging 45 points a game.
I love it. I can't, and I go back to the program at St. Harlebus Church, and I'm listening to Coach Spider at the podium, and I'm thinking, man, are they going to win a game this year? I mean, is he sandbagging us as bad as
old okie doke?
Antonio, I fell for it. I fell right on my rear end. I said, "Oh, Spider, come on!" Here they are, 3-0. They got a chance to keep things going. Good for him. I'm so happy for them in East Canton. It's a great little community over there, and I know there's not a ton of kids on the roster, but they're playing hard, they're working hard, and they're winning games. So, shout out to Coach Spider in East Canton. They should be very, very proud of what's going on there. That's a great story. I want to throw this question at you and to take you back to your coaching days, and whether it was McKinley or an assistant with somebody else. And let's just say, okay, this is perfect. All right, we're going into our 4th week, and let's just say you're the head of a team that you started off 3-0, but as a coach, maybe the competition hasn't been what you thought it was going to be, and maybe you just can't quite get a read on your guys. Hey, are we really this good? Have we not played the competition? How do you maneuver through that and get your guys to believe, but also keep them on an even keel and say, guys, tougher games ahead. I respect what we're doing, but let's keep our eyes on the prize. How do you do that?
Well, I think you have to start by keeping the focus on you as a team. You can't focus about who you're playing, because I used to tell my guys every week we're playing Canton McKinley, because the only team that can beat Canton McKinley is Canton McKinley. And so, we're always looking for ways to improve, whether we come out of a win or a loss. we're identifying how can we get better, right? And as a coach who started, a couple years ago, through the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, we were ranked in the top 10 in the state, and then eventually being, ranked number 1 for a few weeks. You got to tell them, don't smell the roses, guys, because there's still a lot of football left. We have so much improvement to do, both collectively as a team, individually as players. That has to be our mission. Day in and day out is, how can I improve at something? And I think the coaches who can keep things in perspective and not let guys smell the roses, those are the programs you see sustain moving through weeks 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking, did you ever have the situation where, maybe you were undefeated and everybody was feeling good and riding high? You knew that maybe you weren't all that right yet, and you had coach, we're 3-0. Come on, we don't need. That's all part of it, though, isn't it?
It is, and that's part of the tone you set as a coach coming into that week, and making sure that your coach and staff they relay that same message, and they're amplifying what your regards are for that week. Is that, hey, we have to keep things on an even keel. We can't get too high. We can't get too low. Our thing is about getting better. So it's not just the head coach that has responsibility, but the assistants have to be a big part of that as well.
Talking ball with Hall, Antonio Hall, Q92 Sports, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310, WDPN. And don't forget, you can listen to watch on all of our social media platforms, X, Facebook, and the Q92 Radio YouTube page. Okay, Friday night, 3-0 Lake, 3-0 Perry. You mentioned Perry. I feel so bad for Lake. They lost tied to George. I think he had a broken ankle, and I feel bad for him and the team. But Lake's got a pretty decent backup squad, if you will, at the quarterback position. They're going to miss Tide, no doubt about it.
Definitely.
But what are your thoughts on this game? 3-0 against 3-0 coming up.
I think it's going to come down to the defenses. So far Perry's defense has been lights out, both versus the run and the pass. And from what I've seen and read, Lake's defense is much of the same. And so I think it's going to come down, who can score early. I think the kicking game is going to play a huge factor in this, both with field position and scoring points in the kicking game. But it's definitely going to be a nip and tuck type game, and it's definitely going to be physical.
Louisville at Marlington. This will be the game on 1310 WDPN. The Leopards, as we mentioned, 3-0, looking for 4-0. Their best start in a long, long time. We talked about Coach Kappas, but here comes Marlington.
Marlington, yeah. Marlington.
They got a freshman quarterback. He's kind of learning his way. They got a couple of really nice, skilled kids. I think this should be a fun game.
I think it should. Marlington's 2-0. They're off to a really good start. Only lost to that, undefeated team. Actually, that they were at the time, only lost to Northwest so far. And Northwest is a tremendous program. So, Marlington seems to have it rolling. Louisville definitely has it rolling. This is going to be an exciting one for you to call.
What are your thoughts on how do you try to get, even though it's his fourth game now, but how do you kind of manage a freshman quarterback? How do you do that?
Yeah. You really have to be able to pick your spots that you want to go deep. You can't put the game on his shoulders. You're really going to have to rely on that run game and your defense. But as long as you're giving them manageable throws early in the game, letting them get in a rhythm, maybe with some quick flares, some bubble screens, some middle screens, some quick slants, maybe a couple quick outs, just get them in a rhythm. You don't want to come out first series trying to throw bombs or trying to have them read coverages. You just want them to feel comfortable out there. And the more you see his comfort level, the more you want to open up your playbook and see what he might be able to do. But I would start real conservative, let my run game, let my screen game, my draw game get the offense going, and progress him as the game moves forward.
Should be a fun one, Louisville Marlington on Friday. All right, Coach, your ball game. You and Keller are going to be back at the Benny. McKinley and Glen Oak. This has been a pretty fierce rivalry over the years. We know Glen
backyard brawl.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody. There were some classics back at the old Fawcett Stadium. There's been a couple of good ones at Benson. There's been some good ones over at Plain Local. We know the Eagles have been struggling, so they want to win this in the worst way. And McKinley, 2-1. But I know they're working on some things. And what do you see happening on Friday night?
Well, I see a very high-powered McKinley offense. They're averaging 30 points a game. That they've scored 90 in the fourth quarter. So I mean, they're finishing games with the exclamation point. McKinley has a two-headed monster running back. West is averaging 7.4 yards a carry. Culver's averaging 4.1 yards. The quarterback Hayden's thrown 6 touchdowns, only 1 interception with a QBR rating of 98.5 through his first 3 games. And they have skill all over the place. I mean, DJ Britt has 3 touchdowns. EJ Finn has 2 touchdowns. Darius Hill has a reception for a touchdown. But the defense is what impresses me most about McKinley. Their linebacking core with Robinson, Stevens, and Brooks, they all have between 22 and 26 tackles. Plus, you got Shad Davis out there. He's a menace on defense. But my guy, and I got to tell you a story about this guy, Colin Hink, defensive end. When he was in 8th grade and he came to practice, he didn't say my name is Colin Hinkle. He didn't say, hey, I'm going to be the starting defensive end on the defense. He said, my name is Sack Master. and so far this season, Colin Hinkle has 4 sacks in 3 games. So he's definitely living up to his alter ego. And then Kayshawn Dawkins, one of my favorite kids. I mean, just a beautiful soul. We have a long history. Kayvon had 2 sacks last week. So that defensive front is menacing for the Dogs.
I think it's going to be – it's always a very intense game. Usually see it. It's almost like a feeling out process. The first couple series, you might get some guys jumping off sides and getting a little crazy with it. But once everybody settles in, I think it'll be a pretty good ball game. McKinley, what do you think their ceiling is right now, Coach?
I think it's as high as they want it to be. I mean, I really think that as that offensive line matures and develops together, that's going to be the telltale. I mean, they had to replace 3 seniors last year. They got Jamarius Owens, the center, and Logan Hayes, who's a highly recruited guy. Those are the only 2 guys coming back. Those are your 2 seniors anchoring that offensive line. So if the young guys continue to mesh and gel and grow as the season progresses, I really think sky's the limit.
We talked a week ago, and the Youngstown Ursuline thing had just kind of broken. Man, has it taken a couple of different turns today. There's been another lawsuit filed. This is the second one. Warren Harding now has come forward and said, you know what, we're not going to play that game, not this Friday, but next Friday. So that ball game has been canceled. Geez, what from a football standpoint, and that's not the most important part of this story,
right?
But
right.
Where do they go? I mean, do you think that they will finish the season?
In my personal opinion, how things are trending right now, it doesn't look promising that they will, and you hate that for the kids who had absolutely nothing to do with this, and you hate that for the kids, especially those seniors who for 4 years have sacrificed, because that's what this game takes. It takes a tremendous deal of commitment and sacrifice. And when you get to your senior year to have this happen, I mean, I had to guide a bunch of seniors through a situation not similar to this, but the residual effects from it are very similar to this. And it just breaks your heart, because what they were looking for and anticipating. And then to get to this point, that not be able to deliver, it just breaks your heart as a coach.
What advice would you give to the players that A, had nothing to do with it, or B, didn't know anything about it? They just want to play ball. They want to be with their friends. They want to have fun. They want that high school experience. You only get 10 chances a year, plus the postseason. What kind of advice would you give them? Because I know there has been some that have already transferred out. I'm sure there will be more. What kind of advice would you give them?
Just to stay together, even if it's not physically, but just lean on each other, because you guys are the only ones who know what you are going through. And that's the beautiful thing about a locker room. Mm-hmm. I mean, but behind closed doors, the guys in that room are the only ones who experience and know what each guy is going through. And this is something that is very unique to them in that situation. And so I would just tell them to stay together, lean on each other, confide in one another, vent to one another. But if there is a chance for you guys to play this year, stick together.
Yeah, that's all you can do. You got to stick together. You called it. You got to lean on each other. You got to be there for each other and try to make it through. Coach Antonio Hall, our guest, Q92 Sports, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. Coach Antonio will be with Keller. They will have McKinley and Glen Oak on the Q92 Radio Sports Network Friday night, 7 o'clock over at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. Coach, as always, I love our visit. I can't wait to do it 7 days from today. And it will be, in fact, the 5th week of the high school season. Holy cow. Antonio, thanks, brother. I appreciate you. We'll see you in 7 days and have a great weekend.
You too, Sam. Thank you.
There he goes. Antonio Hall from